Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas is a local weekend morning show featuring the people, events, and companies that make Las Vegas the place to live, shop, work, and play. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. We're here at Las Vegas Fire and Rescue at our world-class 911 Center for Southern Nevada. We'll be meeting with Public Information and Education Officer Tim Szymanski again today. If you missed him yesterday, you can see all our past programs on YouTube. You can even subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/Hometown Discoveries. Tim gave us a tour of the downtown fire station yesterday that you won't want to miss. Today you'll hear from Richard Hanseen, our wealth advisor, with some great insight for your financial health. We'll eavesdrop on Joanne Lucia, our interior design expert, and her client Dee on a shopping expedition.
We have some dragon gates that I think are quite stunning.
Those are awesome.
Aren't they fabulous?
Our local pharmacist tells us when an allergic reaction requires a 911 call. Public Education and Information Officer Tim Szymanski will talk with us about emergency medical treatment and their fabulous training facility here. Welcome back to the program, Tim. For those of our audience who didn't watch yesterday's show, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I've been in the fire service for 42 years. I worked 10 years in Cleveland, almost 20 years in Atlanta, and then I've been out here in Las Vegas for the last 17 years. My job is to handle public information, which is mainly the news media, and also be at the command post during an emergency to assist the incident commander with the news media and any emergency information to the public, and also to educate the public on how to be safe from fire.
When I told people I would be interviewing you here at the fire station, they asked me if it was Clark County or Las Vegas, and asked me, and I didn't know the difference. So can you tell me the difference?
Well, originally, the Las Vegas Fire Department was formed in 1907. It became the first full-time fire department in 1942, and all of it took place on Fremont Street. Eventually, the county became a fire department in 1953, and they hold the outlying areas in the area south of Sahara Avenue. So the Las Vegas Strip is really not in the city of Las Vegas, but they have their own fire department. North Las Vegas has their own fire department, as well as Henderson and Boulder City. This 911 center up here takes care of all of Clark County, which is about 8,000 square miles, plus the city of Las Vegas and the city of North Las Vegas. So if you call 911 and you have a fire or medical emergency, it's going to come into this center here.
Wow, you guys have a really big job taking care of the whole city here. You've shown me a few things here. Is there anything that you want to point out specifically?
It's just we can handle all the calls. When a person calls 911, which is made for life-threatening or damaging property emergencies, it has to be a very serious emergency, and it's fire and medical related. It's going to come into this center. If it's a non-life-threatening emergency, something that is urgent, we encourage you to use 311. 311 is also located in the 911 center, but they take the non-urgent, like barking dogs, things that are annoying you, something like, and let's keep the 911 lines open for life-threatening. If a person is having a heart attack, if their house is on fire, if you're being robbed, been attacked, you want to keep those lines open so your call gets through very quickly.
That's great information, Tim. I really appreciate that. I think some of our audience doesn't know when to call. You were telling me how many calls you get here today.
On the average, we get about 700 calls a day into the 911 center here. On a rainy day, we can get maybe 200 calls an hour. So usually when it's raining is the busiest time for the 911 center, and that's basically because of all the car wrecks that occur.
You were telling me about your training here and about the training that your EMTs receive both on the trucks and in the emergency medical vehicles, and the training that the 911 dispatchers receive.
Well, everybody that's on the fire department is medically trained, or at least an EMT. Every fire unit has one licensed paramedic on it, which means that they're licensed by the Southern Nevada Health District. They carry the full complement of medical equipment, which is IVs, drugs, things of that nature. So a lot of times people say, when I call for an ambulance, why did a fire truck show up? What we do now is we bring the emergency room to the incident. What you want is you want that person to stop hurting or to prevent them from dying. And the quicker we can give them medications and start IVs, we can stop that from happening. If you wait until you get to the hospital, more damage has occurred. So you don't care what the vehicle looks like. You just want trained personnel to show up on scene as quickly as you can and stop you from hurting or stopping you from dying. The computer up here doesn't know boundaries. It doesn't care. It wants to get the closest people that are qualified to handle your emergency as quickly as possible.
Wow. So do you have any advice for our audience if they think someone is having a heart attack and they've called 911, advice for what they should do while they're waiting for the ambulance to get there?
Okay. Well, they should not hang up the phone until the dispatcher tells them to hang up. In some cases, they will stay on the phone with you up until the time the paramedics walk into the room, especially if young people are involved, like children. And that, and they're there, they says, I found mommy on the floor. They want to make sure that the paramedics get to the right room. They'll stay in the room. Do exactly what the paramedics tell, or what the dispatchers tell you what to do. They are medically trained, so they can tell you life-saving techniques over the telephone. How to do mouth-to-mouth, how to deliver a baby, how to revive a child that maybe has fallen into a swimming pool. Follow the directions. You can do things for us that's going to speed up the call. If you have animals in the house, secure them, put them in a room so the dispatcher or the paramedics don't have to worry about them when they come in. Turn on a light outside. It's always good to have somebody run down to the street and flag down a unit if someone is not available. If you're on medications, have someone pick up those medications and put them in a bag so we can take them to the hospital so the doctor can see them. There's a lot of things that people can do to help us, but the best one is to stay on the phone, stay cool and calm, follow the directions that the dispatchers tell you over the phone, and just give us the information that we need.
We're so grateful that you're here. We have more to talk to Tim about a little later in the program, so stay tuned. The Assistance League Las Vegas does their part to help children and families when disaster strikes.
And then there's the Bear program that provides stuffed teddy bears to traumatized children through local agencies, including hospitals, domestic violence centers, and the police and fire departments. These bears are an incredible tool to give comfort and to help children communicate. Our Layette program provides newborn clothing to the University Medical Center's Baby Steps program for low-income expectant parents, and even the Rosewarren Reading program. Here, members volunteer by assisting students in improving reading skills at a local elementary school. Finally, the Assistance League provides the Kids on the Block, a special troupe of puppeteers who perform educational skits for third graders. Each skit addresses issues from a child's perspective. They perform many skits varying in subjects, from home issues like dealing with divorce to peer issues such as bullying. To provide opportunities for a greater volunteer base, the Desert Sage Auxiliary was formed. Members of this auxiliary meet in the evening, allowing those who work to take part in the activities of our volunteer organization. For teenagers, Assist Teens is the junior auxiliary of Assistance League Las Vegas. In this group, boys and girls in grades 7 through 12 learn the value of volunteerism and leadership through community service. How are all of these programs funded? One of the key initiatives is the Assistance League Thrift Shop. The Thrift Shop sells reasonably priced, gently used merchandise and is staffed completely by our volunteers. All the revenue generated supports our local chapter facility and the various programs you just heard about. As you can see, the Assistance League is a diverse organization with widespread community impact. This all-volunteer group is completely self-funded through grants, fundraising events, contributions from the community, and our thrift shop sales. You can be assured that every contribution goes directly to a child who needs and deserves it.
If you'd like to learn more about Assistance League Las Vegas or donate a bear for this special cause, check out their website, allv.org. Enjoying multiple income streams when we retire takes planning. Here's Richard Hanseen with a few ideas.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about comfort. Because when I designed the system that we've talked about before, we talked about clarity, defining your goals and objectives, providing you with confidence by developing the strategies that allow you to reach your goals and objectives. And then what happens then? Well, you can sleep at night. We call that comfort. And actually, this process actually came from a few clients when I would interview them after we had done the process and say, what did you get from this? And what they said is they got clarity. They felt very confident that they could achieve their goals, and they were comfortable that they could sleep at night and they didn't have to worry about this. They'd go on to other things. We talked earlier a number of times about DOS, and I'm pretty sure that I never did really define that for you. So let's regress a little bit and say, okay, how do we get these goals and objectives out of you, and what do we do with it, and how do we determine what your needs are? We use a process called DOS, and it's the statement or the question I asked before was, if you're sitting here 3 years from now having a conversation, this conversation, and looking back over that 3-year period, what has to have happened for you to be happy with your progress? Well, the first thing that happens is we start to find out what it is you want to do. The next step, or the next part of the process, is to view the dangers of the things that keep you from accomplishing your goals. Those are the things we need to overcome. Those are the things that we as planners take to heart and find ways to neutralize them. You know, the best part of my job is when we go through this process and we develop strategies when implemented that bring people peace and quiet, and we call it comfort. For example, I have a client who I've been dealing with for 12 to 15 years, and we've been dealing with her from a business standpoint, and business was doing well and life was good, and all of a sudden she was in the publishing business and couldn't make the switch from paper to digital. And what happened was she pursued that to a bitter end, like a fight, and she lost the fight, and her business disappeared, and it was a rather strong business that generated a lot of revenue and income for her. So the point came last year when it was pretty clear that we had to find the assets that she had, make sure that they didn't go anywhere, protect them, and use them for processes that would make her comfortable, what I call a graceful exit. Because if you think we're staying here for a long time, no, as my friend would say, we're not here for a long time, just a good time. So we're trying to make sure that she has a good time. In that process, we've developed income streams and investment strategies for her that will provide her with a lifetime income no matter how long she lives, will take care of her estate and the transfer of that estate to her kids, and she can live her life without any more fear.
What's your favorite Las Vegas discovery? Follow us and tweet with us at Hometown D. You're invited to meet the cast and crew of Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas. Mark your calendar for Thursday, September 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. We look forward to seeing you at the historic 5th Street School. If you've wondered what style furnishings best fit your lifestyle, here's Joanne Lucia with some insight on how Asian influence can complement your home.
Dee, let me show you our next design element. We call it just Asian.
I love the Asian. Our home is contemporary Asian, so this is my cup of tea.
This will be right up your alley.
Absolutely.
What we have here, we have some dragon gates that I think are quite stunning.
Those are awesome.
Aren't they fabulous?
They really are.
They have some age, about 120 to 150 years of age, which by Asian standards is nothing. By ours, it's quite something. I love the combination of the Asian and the very contemporary, which is, of course, right, as you said, right up your alley.
Exactly.
We have a Mongolian hand-painted chest over there, which I think is quite fabulous. It works very well. I love the very Asian look with the very contemporary look. We have a pair of monks sitting on there that are incredible. They would They're wonderful standing by themselves, and they could also make fabulous lamps.
This is beautiful. I just can't believe it. I love this stuff.
Well, good. And then, of course, what I think would be good to do in something like this, too, would be to bring a little color to our toss cushions. Rather than we starting with a fairly clean palette, but let's kick it up a notch.
What colors would you use in something
well,
like
I
this?
think if we're going to bring in our dragon gates, definitely red, definitely black, and maybe gold.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
And that's where we might bring in some of our our Asian fabrics on some of those pieces, which I think would be stunning. If you'd like to have a little fun browsing in the showroom, just stop by so we can help you create the right look for your home.
Up next, our local pharmacist tells us how to recognize signs that an allergic reaction to your medication requires a 911 call.
Allergic reactions to drugs can be very, very serious. So we need to really be aware of some of these signs and symptoms, because at the first sign of these symptoms, you really need to call 911 because they are very serious allergic reactions, and you're going to need professional medical care. When we take a medication, it's in our stomachs and it's absorbed into the bloodstream, and this is what we call a therapeutic peak blood level. Now, this absorption can take anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. So we want to be very cautious of what's going on in our bodies during this period of time, because this is when an allergic drug reaction is going to occur. Now, the symptoms of that is going to have a swelling and tightness around the chest and throat. You're going to have a rapid heart rate. You're going to have a low or a high blood pressure, and your pulse rate might be weak. It might even be rapid. If any of these symptoms occur at any time, you need to call 911 immediately. And the blood pressure and your pulse rate are very important. And that's why I always recommend that every household should have a blood pressure monitor. And every family member should be instructed on the proper way of using that monitor. Because when you do call 911, the operator there will really find that information very helpful, as she knows what your blood pressure is and what your pulse rate is. And the new meters now will provide that information on a digital scale, very easy to read. So I highly recommend that you always have a blood pressure monitor in your home that's readily available. Again, I want to thank you all for watching. Next weekend, I've had several questions come through on our website that I'm going to answer on our show. So again, thank you for watching Hometown Discoveries, and remember, your health is priceless.
So Dave, tell us about your position here with 911.
Well, I'm the senior communication specialist. Today I'm the supervisor. My shift usually runs 10 hours staggered. I come in at 4 in the morning. I get off at 1400. Usually I oversee the room. I make the seating schedule. I also get the lunches available for the personnel that's working, any necessary breaks. I fill in as a call taker as well as looking over the schedule. I take emergency call, non-emergency call, provide relief, and rotate the room as necessary when they have to go to different seating. So for the most part, it's overlooking what these people do, and it's real easy because they do such a great job.
Well, I noticed you keep a really nice atmosphere. The lights are dim, everybody's voices are calm here. It's not anything like I expected.
Well, it's the training, the practice. If you're panicking, if you're excited, then the person that you're talking to is going to panic. They're going to be excited. You try to keep a calm demeanor. You try to make sure that when that individual calls you, that you're the voice of reason. You're the hope that they're looking for, and you do your job to get them there as quick as you can.
So how long have you been doing this?
20 years.
Wow, you must love it.
I don't hate it. So yeah, it's something different every day. I love the variety. I've always had a career where I help people and stuff, and I look forward to that because it's something that gets you going. It's something that you know that you're doing important work and stuff, and that you're feeling a need and you're doing the best you can. You're not always successful, but you got to applaud the effort.
Well, we certainly applaud you. Thank you so much.
I've been with 911 for 15 years. I do love it. We do rotate the different positions, so sometimes we're talking to the public, and then other hours we're actually dispatching the units out on the call. So it kind of gives us a variety through the day, doing different things. I love just helping the public, being able to be that first person they talk to on the line when they're panicked, and you can calm them down and tell them exactly what they need to do before the units arrive. I love about Las Vegas, I've been here since '81. I do love the weather. I'm also from Ohio, so I don't miss the snow, the mosquitoes, the bugs. So I like the weather here, no bugs, the dry heat. I'll take that any day.
That's probably the hardest thing to do in an emergency when a loved one is, like you said, on the floor and not responding, just to stay calm.
That's right. And let me mention here, too, if you have a fire and it's in your home, we don't want you taking the time to call 911. I told you before that you have to concentrate on escaping first. When you get to a safe place, then you call 911 and talk to them, because we're probably going to talk to you on the phone. But if you only got 90 seconds to get out of a home, you don't need to be calling 911. And many times we'll have people coughing and hacking on the phone, and we're saying, drop the phone and run out and go to a neighbor's and call us back. We want you to get out of that building. So if you're in a building and it's on fire, call first and make the call. A lot of times there's emergencies that occur, and people think the other guy called and nobody calls us, and 10-15 minutes can pass and no one has taken the time to call us. If you call us and someone else called ahead of you, we're going to say, we've got the call already, thank you. But in some cases, you may be the first person that actually made the call. So make the call. Don't be afraid to call 911. If you think there's an emergency, that's why we are there to help you. So sometimes people will tell us, well, I didn't really want to call you, or I've been smelling smoke for an hour. And then when they call us, their house is on fire, and we say, we would have rather you called us an hour ago when you first smelled it, and we might have found it in that outlet in the kitchen and confined the damage. If you have chest pains and you're sitting there, and if you start thinking, should I call for an ambulance or not, then that's the time to call. It doesn't cost anything. Our paramedics will come and talk to you. They can tell you right then and there whether you need medical treatment or not. So make the call. If you're ever in doubt and you think it's a life-threatening emergency, or you think property is being damaged, you should make the call.
I noticed you have this lifesaver wall on your here behind us. Tell us about that.
Well, we cover 8,000 square miles, which is about the size of Rhode Island, and a lot of all of them are from where the dispatchers had saved lives over the telephone. One of the most common one is people making a run for the hospital that live in outlying areas because they're having a baby. They might be coming from Mesquite and they want to have a baby at UMC. And somewhere around Moapa, they decide that they're not going to make it. The child says, I'm not going to wait till Las Vegas. So they pull to the side of the road and they say, what do I do? The dispatchers tell over the telephone, this is exactly what I want you to do, and they give instructions. They tell people how to do CPR. We've told small children what to do with their parents until somebody arrive on the scene. So every one of those that you see behind me is a life that they saved by talking over the phone. These people set up the tone for the emergency. When a person has an emergency, this is where it all starts, right here.
So tell us about the patches on this wall.
Well, what this is, these are patches from other fire departments. Usually it's visitors that come up to the alarm center. Everybody wants to see it. And when you're a firefighter, you usually carry patches with you when you go on vacation or visiting. And to show their appreciation for the dispatchers for taking their time and showing them around, they give them a patch to put up on their board. So these are people that come from all over the country to show it. Just shows that their department was here.
It really shows solidarity across the country, doesn't it?
Yep. Which is also popular is T-shirts. Those are really kind of slacked off. Patches are real popular, but what has become really popular is what they call challenge coins now, and people are having special coins that look like the things they use in the casinos, chips, and they have them made up, and people, and what it is they call them challenge coins because someone will come up to you and they'll say, I challenge you to see if you have a coin, and if you do and they have one, you trade coins. That's really high end, but this is the most popular patches. Fire Department Las Vegas Dispatch Center, and then it has the different patches that are worn by Las Vegas personnel, fire prevention, the bomb squad. We have the only bomb squad in Southern Nevada. The paramedics patch, the hazmat team, and the TRT, which is the technical rescue. But you can see there's a whole bunch of other fire departments from across the United States that are here.
Thank you so much for having us here. We've really appreciated having you on the program. So before we go, tell us your favorite thing about Las Vegas.
It'd have to be the weather. The weather is just absolutely fantastic. I lived in Cleveland where it was cold and it snowed. Lived in the Southeast, and I liked the Southeast a lot, but we had tornadoes and hurricanes and lots of rain. And here in Las Vegas, it just seems like every day is perfect. It's always sunny. You can sit out on the back patio at 11 o'clock at night and it's still 100 degrees, and it's comfortable. It's really, really nice. It's just the ideal place. I actually feel safe here. We don't have the other disasters that you hear about people talking about in other parts of the country. I've been here 16 years, and I can't think of a bad day except for a few days when it rained, and you look forward to the rain. But it's always really, really nice. So I'd have to say number one, it's the weather.
Thank you so much, Tim. I enjoy the weather here, too. We're going to have you on our program a few more times.
I look forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next week on Hometown Discoveries Las Vegas, we'll be back at Interiors by Designer Studio with Joanne Lucia. I'm looking forward to seeing our new set she'll be designing for us. We'll be meeting Richard Hanseen, our wealth advisor, and discussing the signs of prescription drug addiction with our pharmacist. Thank you for joining us this weekend. The best part of our Hometown Discoveries is sharing them with you, and we're here in Tim Szymanski's office getting a little inside view of all his antique fire collectibles. Thank you for joining us, and have a great week. Join us for the best ideas on living, learning, working, and playing in Las Vegas. We'll be right here on KTUD Vegas TV every weekend morning, and we are so excited to share our hometown discoveries with you.